Hey, everybody. Welcome to McFly. We're going to do some McFly reactions here with All About Us documentary provided to us by the one and only, the ever beautiful, and the always faithful Christina.
Mm-hmm. She's
Thank
wonderful.
You, Christina. No.
Thank you, Christina. We were actually talking, Nathan and I. We're like, we haven't had McFly on our channel for a while. We love McFly.
Yeah.
We enjoy them.
A long time.
It's been a while.
Been a while.
All right. So here's the write-up. She goes, hey, guys, I thought you guys would enjoy the McFly All About Us documentary so you could get the full McFly story as told by them. I think now is the perfect time since December is 1 year since you did the full McFly live and real concert reaction. Has it already been a year?
Oh, my goodness.
Holy smokes.
Like we just did that.
Yeah. With their latest album, Power to Play, being so awesome, we agree. I'm hoping it will bring a huge realization to the US and Canada to get on board with the rest of the Galaxy Defenders. Oh, those are McFly fans. Did we know that? They're called Galaxy Defenders? Did we know that?
Nope. I don't think I've heard that term before.
How come we've done all these McFly reactions?
We've been Galaxy Defenders this whole time, and we didn't even know it?
That's weird. We are now Galaxy Defenders, Nathan. I defend the Galaxy. Very happy you guys have grown to love one of my absolute favorite bands. Love you guys. We love you too, Christina. And we do love McFly. So let's enjoy some McFly. So this is part 1 of 2. We're going to go to about the halfway point of this video, and we'll do part 2 on another sitting. The reason why we do that, of course, is because we like to pause and talk about what we're watching and not just watch the video. So we'll do that wherever we feel the need to pause. And I do apologize. There's a little bit of delay if Nathan and I step on each other here and there because my internet is really horrible where I am right now. But anyways, just keep that in mind. So be patient with that, folks. Okay.
Right, let's do it. Action.
We've been a band for 16 years.
We're best mates. We had 7 number ones, 2 number 1 albums, touring the world.
I have the best 3 friends in the world and best bandmates anyone could ever ask for.
It goes deeper than just being a band. It's about brotherhood.
To be the band of the moment is an amazing experience. There's only one way you go from there.
I just feel like I've been on the edge of crying for the past hour.
I think we all wanted to give everyone that kind of insight into what really happened. Cracks started to form, little things getting swept under the rug.
The divide got bigger and bigger, and he gave up.
We were such a tight...
Oh, they did break
so
up,
I would
remember?
never believe we'd get to a stage where...
I've gone from having 2 bands to none at all.
Have I broken up the band? It was important for us to give some context to the fans.
They deserve to know what's happening. This is a story about love and heartbreak and highs and lows, and it's about dealing with those things. So here we go. It's all about us.
That's the classic documentary intro.
Oh, what was that? Natural?
Hi. Okay. I don't know why I'm laughing. Hello, I'm Tom Fletcher from the band McFly.
I'm Harry Judd, and I'm the drummer in McFly.
My name is Doug Ely Pointer, and I play the bass guitar in a band called McFly.
I don't know what I am. What am I, McFly?
Oh, come on.
So,
being so... Yeah.
This is how the story starts. I was 17. My management, they were managing me and they were managing Busted, and they were putting together a new band, a traditional, all singing, all dancing boy band, pop boy band.
My sister, she was like, oh, here's an audition for you. You should go to it. They're looking for, Universal looking for band members.
My management said, if you come along and film the auditions and take Polaroids of the guys that are auditioning, we'll pay you a bit of money to be there.
As it printed out, there was a bit missing where it said, no guitarist.
And then suddenly in walks this guy who was completely wrong for a boy band.
Look how he looks.
Danny.
And they go, right, guys, we're going to play 30 seconds of music and we want to see how you can dance.
I love his voice. Have we heard him talk? I think we have, but this is weird.
A little bit. A little bit.
It's such he even has a sort of a raspy voice like Bruce Springsteen. Funny enough, it's raspy. Yeah, but he was such a funny looking kid when they first that Bieber haircut.
I always think Danny's the one that like looks the best right now of who's like the way he's matured. He just
he looks fantastic. He's a handsome fellow. They're all good looking guys, but yeah, Danny's my favorite, of course. But this is 2020, by the way, so it's a few years old, but still fairly recent.
So I'm like, oh my god!
And they're like, oh Tom, why don't you take 10 minutes and go and teach him a Backstreet Boys song?
Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. Which one is that?
If there is such thing as a soulmate, I felt like I'd met him.
It was a complete natural rapport that we had with each other.
My manager he'd be really perfect for you, Tom. Why don't you go and talk to him afterwards and see if he wants to write with you?
And from that point on, I just knew I didn't want to carry on doing that audition. I knew I wanted to start a band with Tom.
It was destiny. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I've ever felt that connection with anyone before. And it was like, that is the next stepping stone on this journey.
I started getting the train down to London. We stayed in the Intercontinental. It was just such an easy process with Tom. And it was that point I knew it was like, yeah, we got something here. We got something special.
And we just hung out and wrote songs.
Wow.
20 years ago. Yeah.
It was just a really fun, creative summer with loads of momentum. Looking back, this was really the kind of discovery of what was going to become McFly. Song after song after song.
Wow.
Like we just created that became our sound, but we were missing the rest of the band.
Awesome.
And
that's really cool because they're young there, of course, and they got their acoustic guitars, they're strumming, they're harmonizing right away, and it just shows the natural ability that they had at a very young age to do that, to connect. Look at John and Paul connection, really, like just to harmonize and play guitar together. Yeah, it's really cool to see they're naturally supposed to be together. It's weird how the worlds will unite like that for artists to have that connection.
So the part that I missed was, were they auditioning for? They were auditioning for a boy band. Is that right?
I don't know. Is that what it was? Because they're talking about a producer or something. Were they reality
Universal?
Shows?
Universal was putting together a band, is what they said.
Oh.
And so, was McFly created by an outside entity, or did they themselves get together and create McFly?
Okay, let Christina answer that. But they are talking now about filling out beyond the two of them, so it sounds like they're doing that part, if that makes sense. So I don't know.
Yeah, it almost feels like they're the ones that made it. But I'm curious, just because I think it's a different story than like One Direction story. One Direction story. Okay, so Universal was putting a boy band together. Danny was auditioning for. Okay, and Tom was just hanging around. Gotcha. All right.
Okay. So Danny was. That's funny. Oh, that's why he's talking about singing the "Tell Me Why." Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
And Tom's just hanging around there.
Audition.
Sorry. Yeah. Keep going.
For drummers and bass players.
Got there really early. I threw up in a bin because I was so nervous. I was 15 then.
Wow.
This dude walks in with his blonde fringe into his eyes. I couldn't even see his eyes. And I'm thinking, who's this guy? Looks like he's from South Park.
The manager, Fletch, was like, yeah, okay, I don't know what we're going to do. Just play something pop.
And it just threw him, I think.
And I was like, oh, wait, I learnt the bass line to Billie Jean. Okay, here we go.
I can imagine it.
Oh, crap, that's the only bit I learned.
In my memory, it's an eternity. It goes on and on until Fletch.
Yeah, we'll be in touch. That
was it. That was his chance. Just being like, I thought he was going to be really good. And then a little bit later in the day, you get Harry who walks in, who is the polar opposite to Dougie.
And I was like, hi, my name's Harry. Yeah, I've been playing the drums for 2 years.
I'm Harry, yeah. I'm going, whoa, dude.
He brings up his chair really close to the audition table. I think in my memory, he swings the chair around and sits on it backwards. Who does that? Harry Judd does that.
He starts playing drums like, he's a decent drummer though, he's a decent drummer.
I could never be that confident now. 2 weeks later, I got the phone call. I was officially in the band. So it was Tom, Danny, and Harry.
Our manager sent me a demo of the band and was like, look, we're really scraping the barrel here. Learn these songs and we'll give you a second chance.
And it was that point we knew what he was about.
I always thought you guys were really good guitarists.
I honestly feel like someone's winded me.
Even the fact that we said no to Dougie and he was terrible in the audition, but still somehow managed to be in the band. If that's not fate, what is it? It was just, we were meant to be together. Us four were meant to be together.
So we had this house in North London that was being paid for by this.
It's just funny to see their reaction of cringing because they're their biggest critics. So they're, oh my gosh, that's what we sounded like back then. You know, and it's only natural that they would have become better musicians and artists in 20 years. That's going to be the natural progression.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're teenagers playing like a garage band. Now they're classical professionals at it.
Oh yeah, no, I love that they're like watching themselves for the future and just when you and I do that kind of stuff. If we, I kind of do wish there was more video of you and I together. Even just 20 years ago, but there's nothing. There's
that's fine.
Okay,
that's fine. I don't want to. I can't even watch the videos we do yesterday. I can barely watch the video that I'm doing now with you.
Amazing record deal that Tom and Danny had signed.
Living in the band house, looking back, was like just the most ridiculously fun time of my life.
We were kids. I just turned 18. Danny was 17. Harry was 17.
Wow.
We were so not ready to live alone.
We weren't really into going out partying, especially with Dougie as well, because he was too young to go out.
They were older, and the guys totally looked after me. Harry taught me how to shave. A couple of them were like bad influences in other areas.
What do 17-year-olds do when they've got a house to themselves? We just stayed up all night. It was like, we don't have to go to bed.
It was disgusting. We had maggots in the bin and cockroaches. It was a lovely house, but we destroyed it. We're not allowed to go back and visit. It's why we're not back there for this show, because they won't let us back in to film. So we went from no one knowing who we were to then our first single coming out and being #1 for 2 weeks.
I remember being in the band house and we were listening to the top 40 and it was announced and #1 as McFly with their debut single 5 Colours in Her Hair.
Who's that? Who are these people?
Reaction. He looks so funny.
Yeah. It's so different.
And suddenly, people knew who we were. Like, literally overnight.
Please welcome McFly. McFly!
It's McFly! It's McFly!
I remember going to see the UK for the first time. I remember thinking this is going to be so embarrassing because no one's going to know who we are. But all these girls were like really reacting to us and they didn't seem to care about the other boy bands. And it was like, oh, okay, this is cool.
We didn't even know how good that was.
If I was #1 for 2 weeks now, I'd be walking outside all day. I won't go home.
Then our second single went to #1. And then our album came out and our album was #1. And then our tour sold out.
It felt like nothing could go wrong.
Oh, that's such a good video.
Fun. You also have worked really hard. Because when you are suddenly #1, then your schedule is full. We did not stop.
Suddenly being in Japan, meeting these Japanese fans, and in South America having hundreds of people at the airport thinking, how do they even know who we are?
One girl like knocked on the door and pretended to be a stripper, and 16-year-old me just did not know what the hell to do.
They used to send some mad things. Who doesn't want a tenner lady with a note on it saying how much they love you through the post? It makes your day.
I can see how incredibly lucky we were to have that craziness, because that is 1 in a million.
The winner is McFly.
Last year it was Busted, and this year McFly snatched the pop award away from the competition.
That's funny because they formed that little super group McBusted.
Oh, yes. Yep.
So it's interesting that, we knew this, that they were out of the box. It's good and bad. And maybe they'll talk about this in the documentary. Like, they barely had time to grow facial hair and they were number one. It can do a lot to young people. So I wonder if they're going to address this. This quick rise to fame I'd be curious to see what it does to the band.
Does anything like this exist today? Are there any 14, 15, 16-year-olds getting together and making it big really quickly?
Yeah.
I don't see it. Is that happening, or am I just blind?
Yes, blind.
Blind. I'm just blinded by the light.
Look at my sideburns. Why didn't no one say anything?
Oh, it's horrible. Horrible.
I'd just like to say a massive thank you.
7 number ones, 2 number one albums. We were touring the world. I'm just grateful that I could share it with my mates, with my band.
To be the band of the moment is an amazing experience. We were inseparable, and so I would never have believed we'd get to a stage where we weren't talking to each other.
And he just said, look, what I'm saying is, if you're going to carry on and do the band right now, then I'm out.
And the time likes to fly. I reckon the years go by.
6 years, okay.
Yeah.
We were making our 6th album in 2013, and it came to a head with this song called Carrots and Peas.
Music was great, records were played. That was ridiculous.
What was that one about?
I could see it building. You were just such a bait. I think because you didn't want to record the song, and then you actually just didn't bother learning it.
Yeah, I need a break before thinking it.
Find a quick break out. How I see it is that our band was going through some kind of second stage of puberty. We'd had our run of being like right at the very top and couldn't do any wrong.
And by this point, you've got the new younger bands coming through. You got One Direction and the Vamps, who are compared to you, being like, they're the new you. And be like, God, we've got to that point already. That was quick.
Okay.
That was the hardest thing for us.
I didn't realize that they were before One Direction. Obviously they were. 2003 is long before One Direction.
But they just, yeah, One Direction skyrocketed behind.
Oh yeah, completely overshadowed them. That's got to be a massive factor into this. You're already feeling successful as a band. You're making stuff that works, and then out of the blue comes this other band and other bands, not just One Direction, that overshadow you quickly, and you feel like. There's probably some of them that felt like we got to keep up with them, and some of them were like, no, we just keep to who we are, and that would have clashed.
Accepting, okay, maybe we're not quite selling as many tickets as we were. We're not just going straight to number one every time.
I lost sight of, and with my bandmates making music that I love, I was actually focused on how to write a song that's going to be number one again. How do we make an album that's going to give us a sellout tour again? How do we become the band that everyone screams the loudest for at these shows again?
We then went through that stage where the songs were overthought and they just weren't as good.
I feel like that was the start of me becoming really difficult to be in a band with, because I'd assumed this role of the leader of the band.
And there was a bit of tension, I think, for Danny. He sometimes felt like not listened to.
I always felt Danny and Dougie, they'll get over it, or they're easy to please. But it weren't. It was deeper than that. It was like we felt so frustrated. The amount I used to say or the way I felt, and it never got heard.
Tom and I actually had quite a turbulent relationship in the first part of being in McFly. We wanted to lead naturally, and Danny and Dougie were a lot more laid back and just went along with things.
I was awful to Harry back in the day, because I was like, especially musically, because I had this vision of what the sound was going to be and how the drums should go, and we'd end up screaming at each other. But it was creative arguments, but we'd argue, and then we'd go home and play video games and order pizza.
But that never happened with Dougie. He would never lose his temper. He just let it bubble up for years and years.
I always remember that about Dougie's first time he went to rehab, and we were in a car park, and he said, lads, I'm going to check myself in tonight. And I just felt it's almost overwhelming. Wow, when you're so close to someone like that, and it's like you think you know everything about them, and then suddenly they've got this huge weight on their shoulders and challenging addiction and all that.
I really struggle with confrontation. Maybe like when I was in my early 20s, through things going on in my life, I went to rehab and learned that I can't just keep putting yourself in situations that you find uncomfortable. It was me being like super submissive that had driven me into rehab, so I had to stop being like that, which was the hardest thing.
As lads, we were good at talking, but we weren't very good at emotionally talking.
People were just like sitting on issues and probably building resentments. Yeah, little things getting swept under the rug have just started to... Now you can see a little hump in the rug where there's so much crap under there.
We would not really communicate because we love each other and we never wanted to really hurt each other.
I remember...
Okay, so yeah, I didn't know that Dougie went through rehab. Did we know that?
I didn't know that. No, I think what's striking me now is just how much I like all of them. We've done other boy bands. Sorry, and they're not really a boy band per se, but anyway, we've done other bands like this where you just feel, yeah, this one I like, this one, yeah, whatever. You feel out. I don't feel that about any of them. They don't seem to have an excessive amount of ego.
Can I offer a theory why that might be?
Let's hear it.
We know with One Direction, they weren't produced or created by an entity put together, which is fine. They did collaborate later as a band. Not the first album, maybe the first two albums was a lot of producers and writers with their fingers in the pie. They got more creative control with the next few albums. However, I think that the difference is with McFly, or bands like McFly, compared to maybe these other boy bands. That's why I don't like to call McFly a boy band, because they truly are playing their instruments. Because they're playing, that's the thing, because they are playing their instruments. Remember, Tom was saying that him and Harry butted heads about the drums. See, that's something that boy bands who don't play instruments, what are they fighting about? The lyrics or the, I want to harmonize here and you're going to harmonize there. Or I want to have the chorus. You had the chorus last time. Maybe that's their arguments. But with the band that's playing instruments, hey man, I'm the drummer, but I'm the guitarist. I'm the bassist, and the bassist and drummer. We're the backbeat of this band. Blah, blah. There's a whole other dynamic when you throw in now not just the singing voice and the McFly guys. They can all sing too. That's the crazy thing. But now they're not just saying harmonies and lyrics. They're talking about, hey man, don't tell me how to drum. You're the guitarist. It's a whole different conflict when you have instruments involved. That's my theory.
Sure. And it does say the endurance of a band, if they can get past that. There's a lot of different bands that we've listened to over the years, and the ones that there's one band I listened to, I really like them, but man, do they go through drummers like all the time. It's like the lead singer.
Which band?
Collective Soul.
Oh, right. Yeah, there's some bands that are like that it's almost like the drummer's an afterthought. Like, okay, you're on this album.
Yeah, and it's really just been the two, and guitarists too. So it tells you a little bit about the band and the struggles that they have, is really the lead singer and the rhythm guitarist. So anyway.
No, that's common to their bands that I listen to where, yeah, it's almost one person, original member. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom and Dougie talking about this idea. I was like, why are they talking about something that's really exciting that I'm not involved in? And that was like, whoa, the dynamics changed a bit, because I was like, oh, I thought we were like together on everything.
I was writing this book with Dougie, and I didn't ever tell Danny I was going to do that. Not that I felt like I had to ask his permission, but deep down I knew I should have like communicated that to him. Because I don't know if he would have cared about it, but it would have been nice for him to know.
I think the main thing about the book was just feeling uninvolved, like uninvited. Yeah, because we always did everything together. I like that about us. And that was the first kind of thing that it was like, okay, maybe we don't do everything together.
It's the stuff when we don't argue. That's when we ran into trouble.
Yeah,
it's when we didn't communicate and we didn't do the shouting and we didn't.
Yeah. That's very cool to see. Sorry, cool. It's not the right word, but it's interesting to see that dynamic where, yeah, you have people have a creative interest. It's different. Like you and I, we have a stupid channel that we're doing right now, but you have your own interests. I have my own. Like I do a podcast, you do your YouTube channels, educational channels, and we have our own kind of side projects. But I totally support it, and you do the same for me. There's no, spread your wings, man. We want, in theory, we want both of our side stuff in a sense to become more successful than our channel because it helps both or the other, if that makes sense. So and I know that's not what Danny's saying, but he's just saying, how come I wasn't invited to this project? Yeah, but I think it's important for the people in the band to feel like they can spread their creative wings outside it so they don't feel trapped. I think there could be resentment in some bands if they, hey dude, I want to do different soundy music. Would you mind if I? And I think if I was in the band, I would like to think I would allow other people in the band, if I was the band leader, let's say, go do your own thing, because if you kill it out there, as long as you're not doing our sound, that would be my only thing. Like, we have a certain sound or style, like, save it for the band. Don't get a #1 hit on your solo albums. That sounds like our song with us, but we're not. But
yeah. I really like the quote there that he said, things were working out when we were talking, even if we were arguing. It's when we weren't talking or saying anything, that's when things started to break down. And that's such a great line just for anybody out there, is even if at least you're arguing with somebody, there's a conversation that's happening. And I'm not saying you should have a heated conversation, because that's a whole different conversation, but that there is some dialogue happening. If dialogue's not happening, it ain't happening.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. So good catch.
Do that. That's when it was really difficult.
McBusted was hugely successful, and it sorted out a lot of the problems, but it just covered over the cracks.
One day when I came home at lunchtime, I heard a fight. Went out to the backyard to find out if it was one of those radical.
McBusted was rad. Absolutely love Matt and James. We've always had that connection with Busted anyway, so doing McBusted was just like inviting a different group of mates over to play.
Let's go!
We were back in our comfort zone. We were selling out arenas and we were reliving our glory days. And not many people get to do that.
We all got together that morning when the tour went on sale, and we got the call to be like, 11 shows have sold out. They're going to put more on. And then they sold out, and they put more on, and then they sold out. And then we got a call around midday on that day. We got a call saying, you've been offered to headline Hyde Park in the summer. And we were just like, what?
That was sick. That was like beyond anything that I ever thought I'd ever do.
I'd achieved one of the dreams I had as a kid, which was play the same stage as Bruce Springsteen.
I should have I was just
saw it coming.
I was just about to say Bruce had a big show at Hyde Park around the same time, and believe me, I was going to say it. He just beat me to it in the documentary. Okay, yeah. That's awesome. Yes, Danny's love of Bruce just makes me so happy. I love that he loves Bruce so much. Like, we're kindred spirits. Yeah, in fact, I showed you a song, one of our reactions that I shared with you with the Badlands song. That was the Hyde Park concert. It was an amazing show. Yeah. Anyways, so cool. I love how he said, I shared the stage that Bruce played at. So that's cool. That's really cool.
We just did it as a band, and it was a massive, overwhelming day, that.
Being a four-piece band, or just a group of four friends who are inseparable, suddenly adding 2 new people to that is strange.
Having Matt and James come in and almost laughing at some of our things that we took seriously or would squabble about, I liked. I'm like, yeah, it's like ridiculous, some of the stuff we argue about.
In McBusted, I said nothing. I was like Dougie. And Dougie had become more like I was. Dougie did like all of the chat on stage.
No way.
Where's the little one talking? Wait, that guy can talk?
He definitely changed a bit. And for the first time, I just started hearing him say, I spoke to her and they said, you're crazy, and why don't you do this, and why don't you do that? And it was just like, oh, okay.
The whole issue with this situation was all down to communication.
McBusted was like the plaster we were putting on the McFly wounds for a while.
That
we were
is
happy
so
just
cool.
to go with that for a bit. I guess in the back of our heads, knowing at some point we were going to have to take that plaster off.
I feel love.
I just think that's so cool. I just think it's so cool that, like, it's funny on the outside looking at McBusted. this is long before we knew who McFly was.
Oh, yeah.
We were getting requests for McBusted, and it was like, yeah, they did this thing with Busted.
Yeah.
And I was,
we're confused too. We're like, who's what? Who's who? And
I didn't know this context. This is so good. This really helps put things in perspective for these guys, because I just feel like, I don't know. I didn't understand that was what they needed to do. And they all seem to be saying, if we hadn't have done that, where would we be today? Would they still be a band? They probably not.
No, good point. I also didn't know that Danny was so quiet, that he wasn't really much of a leader. And it was the McBusted kind of them coming in, or the Busted guys coming in, and it gave a chance for Danny to lead and talk. And they're like, this guy can talk, he can say things. So I wouldn't have guessed that. I wouldn't.
Do you mean you don't mean Danny? You mean
no? Did they
Dougie.
see Danny? Was it Dougie they were talking about? Oh, I heard my brain heard Danny. Okay, thank you.
And
my
maybe,
brain
maybe
heard
it was Danny too. But it feels because remember he was saying like, who's this young guy now?
Oh, that's right, because Dougie went. That's right. He was quiet. He kept things into okay. So now he's able to express himself outside of rehab too. So that's okay. I'm all caught up now. Thank you. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks
So McBusted was coming to an end. Me, Danny, and Tom had started the McFly conversation, and Doug was never joining in on the conversation. And we were starting to get a bit nervous.
There was all these kind of like rumors that Doug was having acting lessons and going off to LA. Part of me was like, no, someone's got that wrong. And the other part was like, if that's true, then why hasn't he told me? Feeling really upset that it's like, he's got a whole new circle of friends that I don't even know about. I don't have any friends outside of these guys.
We were on tour in Europe with McBusted, and I managed to arrange a dinner for the four of us because we needed the McFly chat.
And this was like a defining moment, I feel like, in the stuff that followed and the kind of unraveling of our friendships.
We started talking about McFly, how we were going to approach the writing, where should we record, and me and Danny and Tom were getting really excited.
But Dougie just stayed quiet through the whole thing.
I was just feeling like, oh my God, this is horrible. We're losing him, and there's nothing I can do.
It was a Mexican restaurant, and we'd ordered these nachos to share. And I feel like it's like the most symbolic thing. We got to this point where there was 4 nachos left in the middle of the table, and Harry picked one and ate it.
And then Tom took his one, and Danny had his.
And then there was 1 nacho left, and Dougie didn't eat the nacho. And I remember sitting there in my head going, eat the nacho.
Doug, please, just eat the nacho. Just eat the nacho.
I had no idea UK people said nacho.
Nacho. Yeah.
It's nacho.
Yeah, we say nacho.
It's nacho.
That's actually how it's pronounced.
Say.
Yeah.
Is it nacho or nacho? I always thought it was nacho.
It'd be nacho. Nacho.
Yeah. It's just I've never heard a UK person say nachos, so hear them say nacho. It's just funny. They probably think we sound weird or what's it? Hey, that's nacho cheese, man. That's nacho cheese.
I knew you'd do that joke. I knew you would do that joke.
All right, I love that. All right. So now does Dougie take the nacho?
The band is the nachos, and if he doesn't eat that nacho, he doesn't want to be in the band anymore.
I finally just broke. I was like, Doug, dude, do you want the nacho? And he was like, nah, man, I'm fine. I was like, oh.
He's gone.
I don't know if I was putting it off. Maybe I was. As I said, I'm terrible with drama. I don't know how to deal with that.
The tour finished. We went away for a couple of weeks, and then
you didn't
the
take
dreaded
the
night in Notting Hill where we all met up.
Yeah, so the Notting Hill meeting was a strange one.
Doug called us all together for a meeting and said, I'm going to LA.
I remember getting a sense of drama within the circle, and 4 of us need a reset. Just take a little bit of a break.
I remember just saying, are you ever going to want to do it? And he was like, I don't know.
We were just shell-shocked, really.
And he just said, look, what I'm saying.
Okay, what's the year, just so I can put this in context, that this happened? Was this around, this would be, so McBusted was formed.
This is probably 2015-ish, probably.
Okay.
Well, 5 years, probably 5 years before this documentary, give or take.
So then this is around when One Direction fell apart, isn't it?
Yeah, they've been disbanded for about eight years, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Saying is, if you're going to carry on and do the band right now, then I'm out.
It was like this huge blow. It was so unjustified, really. I felt so betrayed. Not because he wanted a break from the band, because he hadn't told me.
We'd been a band for 13 years. It's all we'd ever known. It was everything to us. And suddenly it was like, for the first time, it was gone.
An hour ago, we were in 2 bands, McBusted and McFly, and now we have nothing, and we're a band member down.
Yeah, seems so strong. Yeah, man, it's been so long. My love had been so wrong.
I remember going home that night, lying in bed, and my heart was just thumping. And I'd just be like, can't believe it.
McFly had been the defining thing in my life, and now the band's not here. I don't know who I am without this band.
All right. Okay. Perfect place to stop. Right there. The halfway mark.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Whoo, what a cliffhanger. I want to know why. I want to know
Does Dougie
what
come back?
Like, yeah.
Did they give him another chance at the natural plate?
I'm all for this.
It's fun.
I've been looking forward, like when I saw that this documentary we were gonna do this. I've been really excited about it because I feel like we've done some of the behind the scenes stuff with the McFly, but this is a really good, like, just getting it all out there. I do feel, like I said, I don't have anything against any one member of any of the band. But in this little thing here, what was Dougie's problem? Obviously, he was addictions and those kinds of things. Those are tough to deal with. And then, because he's a likable guy. Like, he doesn't seem like he's got a ton of ego, just potentially a lot of that kind of secretive side. And that might have been part of the problem. But I didn't think that he had a chip on his shoulder or anything like that. And it seems like he did. I feel like, oh man, it's too bad. Oh, there's a McBusted documentary. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Oh, look at that. All right. Well, that's great. I really enjoyed part 1. I look forward to watching part 2. Thank you so much, Christina. If you're watching this on our Patreon, we thank you. If this happens to make it to YouTube, that's cool. They made it to YouTube. We'll find out. I think it might, because this was actually taken from YouTube. Okay. Thanks everyone watching, and stick around for part 2 later.
Yeah. Great. See you then.
We done? Well, I'm out of here.